Okay, so boom. I did this yesterday. Even though it's January 2nd, like these legit are my notes and stuff from January 1st. Okay. And so this is the account of creation. So this is Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, all the way through Genesis 2, verses 3. Okay. Um, Go read it. All right, so this basically is creation as God's ordered world. All right, so what actually happens? Okay, so creation is in 7 days, it is structured and it is rhythmic. All right, so day one, that is separating light from dark. Okay, let there be light, there was light. All right, day two is when now the sky separates the waters. Okay, day three is the coming of land, seas, vegetation. Day four is when we begin to like distinguish time, okay, because the sun, the moon, and the stars are created. Day five is when birds and sea creatures come on the scene. Day six is land animals and humankind, okay. So humans are created male and female, and it is notable that they are created in the image of God and given responsibility over creation. And day seven, this is when God rests and sanctifies the day. So that is what happens in a nutshell. Now, again, trying to make sense of God's word and just like, what do these things mean? Why does this stuff matter? That is kind of like the the next part that this entails, right? So that's what happens, and now we get into what this stuff even means, okay? So, first big picture idea is God creates by speaking, okay? Authority and intention. God doesn't struggle, experiment, or react. Creation happens through speech. All right, so the authority piece, words create reality. God doesn't need tools or force. And then the next is intention. So the speech is deliberate. Every act is purposeful, not accidental. Um, and this called me to think about like my communication, right? Because the universe basically it begins with meaningful communication. And what words do I speak that have really been shaping my reality? Like, how do I talk to myself? How do I talk to others? How do I talk to my kids? Is a really big one, because that was something that I said like for just 2026, just moving forward, like what am I leaving in 2025 on watch night? I really did like, we had to like throw the paper in the trash can, and I said like a harsh tongue. So yeah. But back to it. So the universe begins with meaningful communication, meaning that the world is not random. My existence is not an accident. My existence is not an accident. My existence is not an accident. The God who separated light and darkness, the birds, bees, and trees, said that the world needed one of me. Okay, so my existence is not an accident. And God's word shaped reality then and now. So creation is a response to God's will. Um, Second big picture thing about what, this part about creation and God's ordered world means is creation is repeatedly called good. Okay? So the world is not broken by design. Okay? The Hebrew now idea of good, this word tov, it means complete. This is what good means, not our version, not my version, not my interpretation, not my own understanding, but God's understanding of good is it is complete, it is fitting, it is functioning as intended. So it is not perfect, okay, but it is whole. All right. So Genesis lets us know that like evil is not original. Matter is not corrupt. Also, the scientist in me, science teacher, all of that stuff, matter, anything that has mass and takes up space, okay? Um, it's not corrupt. It didn't originally intend to like be that way. And the physical world is worthy of care. So if I am matter, you are matter, any and everything is matter, we have mass and we take up space. We are worthy of care. I am worthy of care. Affirming, I am worthy of care. Okay, I am worthy of care because by design, that was the intention. Okay, so brokenness enters the chat later in Genesis 3. All right, brokenness is not a part of God's original blueprint. Okay, it was good, meaning it was complete, meaning it was whole. Okay, so what that also says is that like the suffering is not just how it's supposed to be. That's just not what it is. Okay. Next big picture idea, right, is that humans, we are to reflect God's image because man and woman, male and female, were created in God's likeness. Okay, so we are representatives of God in creation, which is like a reality check. When people interact with you, Shatima, like, do they see God? Like, who do they see? What do they see when somebody interacts with you? And then humans are called to reflect God's character. And humans, we were entrusted with care, justice, and stewardship. Stewardship has been a big thing for me as well because I'm not the best with God's resources and all of the things that God has given me. And how can, yes, striving for more, wanting more, all of those things like abundance, bam, bam, boom. But you got to take care of the stuff that like God has given me, blessed me with, and consistently doing that. Not just like when I get the new thing, like how my kids are, like when we get a new toy and you play with the toy and the toy is like the shining star for 6 minutes and then on the 7th minute it's on the floor or it's behind the bed or something like that. Just being organized, like order all the things, right? And then what eventually flows from this is because like if we are reflecting God's image, right? Dignity flows from this, okay? So human worth, all right? It's not even it's not something that has to be like earned. It's intrinsic. It's already there. Purpose, okay? Humans, we are meant to contribute, not just exist. Like that whole survival mode, I'm just here. It was not supposed to be like that by design. And then moral responsibility. So our choices matter because they reflect something greater. And what flows from that really and truly is the foundation for accountability. That's a big one. Yes, human rights, yes, ethics, all of those things, but big picture, big world, like that's stuff like not in my direct, tangible locus like of control, my circle, but what I can control, what I can be responsible for is me being accountable for me. All right. So yeah. And then next big picture idea of what creation, this story of creation lets us know is rest is holy. Productivity is not the ultimate goal. And that just goes against everything, being a strong black single mama, blah, 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 independent woman, hoorah, all of that type. And so rest signals completion. It is delight and it is presence because God stops creating and actually dwells with creation. Okay, He delights in that. God is with you. It's pretty. He's okay chilling with us. All right, and so rest is built into creation itself. Okay, meaning that the time with God it is sacred. That presence, delighting in that, and it goes directly against like my worth being my output. My worth is not my output. Okay, I cannot achieve my way up through relation with God that don't matter. And then rest is not a reward for productivity. Okay. I am valued by God before I produce anything. I am valued by God before I produce anything. I am valued. I am valued. I am valued before I produce anything. And I only want to be in relationship with people, with places, with jobs, with anything that recognizes that I am valued before I produce anything. So now we get into why all of this stuff even matters in the first place, okay? Thing number one, why does this matter? God brings order out of chaos. So Genesis opens with the world described as formless, empty, it's covered in darkness, and water is everywhere. So this is not evil, okay? It's just unstructured. And God doesn't destroy the chaos. God organizes it. Shatima, organize your life. Get it together, sir. Get your clean up, deep clean. If it don't have a place, throw it away. Get rid of it. Physically, spirit, like all of it. For real. I'm really bad about that. And that goes back into me wanting to be better with my stewardship and stuff like that. Like, I gotta do better. So yeah. But God. So he separates light from darkness, water from the sky, land from the sea. So this means that God's creative work is about giving boundaries, creating meaning, and making life possible. Okay, so this chaos basically becomes a place now where humans can actually live and thrive. Order makes that possible. Okay, I know for a fact that in certain areas of my life, I'm not thriving like how I should because I don't have, it ain't no order there. It ain't no structure. And I am the person who is supposed to provide that, not only for myself, but for my little people too. So basically, like, this just tells us that God is not threatened by disorder. So I'm a mess, this house a mess. But God is not threatened by that. God works patiently and intentionally. And confusion and uncertainty are starting points, not failures. So when life feels chaotic, Genesis actually suggests that God's work often begins there. Okay? Because God shapes the chaos. So my confusion isn't the end of my story. My unstructuredness, like all of it's not the end of the story. This is just another starting point. All right. And then the next big picture idea of why this matters. Humanity has worth before doing anything. Okay. Humans are created after everything is prepared. They don't earn their place. They don't prove themselves before work, obedience, moral testing. God says, before all this other stuff, God says that humans were made in God's image, in the likeness, blessed, and were called very good, very complete, very whole. Okay. So human value is given, it's not achieved, it's rooted in identity, not productivity. So who am I? Who am I, Shatima? Who am I outside of what I produce and what I bring to the table? Who are you? And then it is independent of success or failure. And so I have worth before action. I do not need to earn love, to earn God's love, to earn love, okay? Because Genesis says that I contribute because I am valuable. Not I'm valuable based off of how much I contribute. No, I contribute because I am valuable. All right. And then the last big picture idea of why the story of creation like matters is because it lets us know that work and rest are both divine ideas. Okay. So work appears before sin, rest appears before exhaustion. Okay. Work is not it's not a punishment. Okay, it's not supposed to be a punishment, and rest is not laziness. These are actually both intentional parts of human life, because work is actually supposed to be participation in creation. Think about, like, when I think about stewardship and that, and what it being a mind thing. I get to do this. I get to participate in creation, right? And rest is, this is like a girl. You needed to hear this. Trust that the world does not depend on me. Like, girl, life goes on. Rest. Rest. Okay, so Genesis just rejects the whole idea of defining myself by my productivity and rejecting responsibility altogether. People be wondering why they not fruitful and everything, just feel like it's just always going to hell. It's because you're not responsible. You don't take care of your kids. Or like just things in general. Okay, so a healthy life mirrors God's rhythm. Okay, meaningful work. And it's like, why does that matter so much? Because if the work is meaningful, like, that really does like lead us to purpose, and things like that. And then just the sacred rest. Got to rest. Okay, so work and rest both matter. I do not have to choose between purpose and peace. And so there it is, my January 1 account of creation and God's ordered world. Again, this is just me, this Bible, ChatGPT, because I'm just a girl trying to make sense of God's word.